This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Next up, we get a backstage skit with the Raw team. Santino gets the biggest reaction. He's playing up this comedy angle really hard. And there's major friction between the Raw brand stars. Cohesion seems to be likely to play a little role in the events to come. Dashing Cody Rhodes is out, teaming with Drew McIntyre. Both look so young here. Cody still has no knee pads. I got a question though. This is a little weird, and you lived it. I can't ask this to any of my other co-hosts. When should a wrestler not wear knee pads? It seems like to me, you'd want to wear knee pads all the time.
The only two times he doesn't have to have knee pads on would probably be showering or shitting.
I agree.
Any other time that he's in a work environment, he needs to have on knee pads. All it takes is one time taking a bump to the floor. If there's concrete, and you don't have it padded properly, or even if it is padded, you got to understand around the ringside is concrete with just a thin pad on it. You land on your knee out there, you're going to blow your knee out. You hit one of those posts or you hit those stairs, you're going to, tear your knee up. It's
right.
Just one of those things that I would say 99% of wrestlers throughout history, or at least through my era, had some form of knee protection on. 1% didn't. The Ronnie Garvins of the world, the guys, apparently Cody wanted to give it a try, but I think if you really truly ask him, that was his way of idolizing a particular wrestler somewhere, somehow, or that he felt like it gave him a better sense of being durable or maybe more mature. I don't know, but it's just foolish to not wear knee pads. He wears them now. I can tell you that.
The anonymous Raw GM makes an impromptu match. It's going to be John Cena and David Otunga, and they're going to win the tag titles from Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre in 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Meltzer would recap it like this. It started with Rhodes and McIntyre coming out and McIntyre saying, "All the boys in the back are scared of us." And then the computer says there's a team that wants to face them. Wade Barrett comes out and says Cena and Otunga would challenge them for the title. Cena works almost the entire match. Otunga keeps wanting to tag in. Cena's ignoring him. For the finish, Cena would block Crossroads by Cody and then put the STF on him in the middle and get the tap. Meltzer would say, for some reason, McIntyre didn't even try to make a save. Otunga then does this big celebration like he had won something, which was funny. They noted he became a tag champion because of his partner, and they joked how Otunga is known for mooching off of his partner. Of course, that's an inside reference to him being Jennifer Hudson's fiance. Cena then gives Otunga the attitude adjustment, holds up both belts by himself. What do you think of this? I mean, it's an interesting twist. I guess we should remind everybody, because of the prior pay-per-view, which we just covered in our archives, Cena's now a member of Nexus, but a reluctant member, wants to do it all on his own, wants no help from any of these guys. But now he finds himself as tag champs, and he did it by himself.
Well, I mean, that was one of the money angles of that period. Cena's involvement with the Nexus. Their numbers were so overwhelming. These guys looked incredible together, and every one of them was in shape. They looked unbelievable, and together with Wade doing the talking, they were a formidable force to take over the entire company, much less just ruining John Cena's life. So this was one of those exceptions that you were able to get away with something for Cena, I think, without, just having him destroy all those guys.
Right.
So, I wasn't against that for that particular night, just the way it was laid out. And John was your lead babyface, so they were building him into being your lead babyface. So, in a 2-on-2 situation like that, or even a 2-on-1, because Cody and Drew were very young in the business, they were still rookies. Cena should have prevailed over those two, and he did. And for their story going forward with the Nexus, I think it was okay, and it probably fit for that point in time.
Yeah, I actually like the story. It is a little fun to see, Cody and Drew. Of course, we know they're going to go on to be tippy top guys in the WWE and AEW, both on top of the mountain on either show. And that was not the case necessarily here. So it's kind of fun to see. Of course, Cena, it feels like maybe most of his wrestling days were in the rearview mirror. But David Otunga, this is a guy who had a legitimate backstory that people could gravitate to. It feels like he was 1 degree separated from a mainstream star. He had an incredible look. Why don't you think he did more with WWE? I mean, he did fine on commentary, but it feels like he could have been somebody with a lot more momentum than what we actually saw. Why don't you think it clicked better?
I know that he would be here today and gone tomorrow, and whatever that reason was, I think he was probably left unbooked for a lot of that time, but I don't think he got enough reps to actually see what he was capable of. And now he looked as good as anybody.
Right.
And a handsome guy and a pleasant guy, had a lot of, class about himself. I think the original, if my opinion matters, I never heard this said in closed doors, but I think in the back of Vince's mind that Jennifer Hudson was going to sing the national anthem at WrestleMania at some point.
Right.
And that, no disrespect to David, but that was the goal, and to keep David happy during that period, because you're talking about a coup for WrestleMania. How big would that have been?
Right.
I'm sure if that was ever presented to her people, they said something along the lines of, Jennifer, you're a worldwide, pop star or whatever she would be considered. You're as hot as anybody on earth. You don't need to be involved with wrestling. I get that your husband is trying his hand at that. You're somewhere else in some other stratosphere. The office never got the memo, though, I don't think. So, our office. I think that was the goal anyway.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.